welcome to the latest edition of Community Conversations, a weekly public affairs program produced by the Capital Region Anti-Racism Training Initiative. I'm Denise Murphy-McGraw, president of the Junior League of Schenectady and Saratoga Counties and one of the founding members of the initiative. I'm here today with my partner, my friend, my mentor, Dr. Hayward Horton, who is one of the premier sociologists, not only in this region, but in the world. And we are thrilled that he has taken a leadership role with our organization, and he's really the guiding force of our organization. And somehow he fits in getting on this show each week with us and sharing some of his wisdom, but also sharing his friends and his acquaintances and the people that he's working with day in and day out throughout the country. So got a good one today, Dr. Horton. Got a good one.
Absolutely. How are you doing today, Denise?
I am quite well. It is good to see you.
Good, good. Well, I tell you, I am so excited about our guest. And I just want our guests to know that this is one of the most dynamic young producers, music producers in the country, as well as a leader in the development of online communities for young creatives. It is my honor and privilege to present to the Community Conversations audience, Mr. Rothstein Beatz.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much, Doc, for that intro.
Hey, man, I thank you for agreeing to be on our show. And it's certainly a true confession here. Rothstein is certainly a dear friend of mine, somebody I look up to as a musical mentor, a great man. But Rothstein, now we always like to start by giving our audience the opportunity to go back with you. Help us understand how you became the great Rothstein, the individual who's leading a movement in creative, independent music today.
Oh man, calling me great. I'm still working on the great part, Doc. So thank you for giving me that title, but I'm still working on that part. But again, thank you so much, Denise and Doctor, for having me. Again, I'm Rothstein Beatz. I'm a music producer originally from Las Vegas, Nevada, but I currently reside in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I have been professionally producing music for about 15 years now. Wow. I have worked with quite a few, some artists, some big time artists, but I like to hold my hat on the independent artists that I have worked with and helped because it's a lot of people who have a dream to create music or be out in the, music industry. So it's just, I feel like with the knowledge that I've gained throughout the years, it's just my duty to help those who are trying to be the future of this music business.
Excellent.
So cool.
But now tell us, but how did you get started on this path? Most people want to go on, find them a music deal and get rich. They're not trying to reach back and trying to help others along the way. Help us understand how you came to be this so community oriented. Take us back to your.
Yeah, I'll take you back, man. I honestly, I always thank my older brother. He was the person to expose me to first going to a studio because, I don't want to date myself, but, I was in the era where we didn't have the internet, you know what I mean? Right. We didn't have, right. The ways to communicate that they do now. You actually had to go to a recording studio. And so I remember I first walked in and I remember just looking, I seeing plaques on the wall and I'm like, wow, like this is where people actually recorded. And I always was interested in music. My parents played music as a young kid. I love James Brown. I love soul music. I love the Motown and then I love Christian music. So it's like all these music that I grew up on, especially from my grandmother and different people. I didn't know it was kind of preparing me for my future, because I always loved sounds and why this makes me feel good or why this bass line stands out versus everything else. And so once I kind of started hanging around the studio, I started playing on the keyboard. then I start like asking other guys who produce, how did they make this or how this work? So I just asked questions, and I kind of, was a sponge versus just thinking I could do it. I just, I didn't just go out there and say, all right, I'm a producer now. I actually researched. I sat in the corner, wrote notes. I asked questions, and next thing you know, I got my first keyboard in a little Boss Casio machine, and I just started trying to make beats. and
Know
they
it
were
well.
horrible. Yeah, they were horrible. So it didn't have that many sounds, but I tried my best to make as many different variations of beats. But then it turned into taking a producer's class in college. That's kind of where I grew more into the production. And I know how it is to be like, I guess you want to say a struggling artist, because I did want to be an artist at one point as well. So looking at the people now, it's like I can kind of help them because I know what that feels like, being interested in being in the music business, but don't know how to get into it, or don't know any of your
Right.
family members or friends who are in the music industry. So since I am someone who has been blessed and fortunate to work with some big time talent as well as mid-level talent, and now I'm just at a point where I can give back and help people out, because I know how it feels to be that struggling artist.
Interesting. Now, who is a typical struggling artist, quote unquote, that you tend to have opportunity to work with these days? Who is that? Who is that individual in terms of the type of music they like, their background? What is it today that attracts certain persons to the music business?
I feel as though a lot of people love music. I mean, it's like you hear it every single day. Some people write poems, and some people say, hey, well, I could put some words together. You know what I mean? Or you might recite someone else's rhyme and change it up and interchange the words and use that same melody. So I think once people nowadays are able to have home studios and different things like that now, that you don't have to spend a bunch of money to go to the studio. So now it's more accessible and affordable to become an artist. So now and the internet makes anybody feel like they can go
Yeah.
viral, or all they gotta do is upload it to the internet, and the internet's gonna do the work. So I feel as though
The worst.
that
Yep.
you don't have to now get signed to a label just for the world to hear you. You can just turn on your phone, and the world can hear you that way.
Hmm.
Rothstein, how do people find you? Or how do you find your talent? It's sort of a variation of what Doc asked you, because it's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, really, I choose to word of mouth is usually the best way for me.
Yeah.
Like people know that I do music because of my social media, and a lot of
Sure.
people connect me and say, "Hey, I have an artist that I want you to meet," or "Hey, because of my Clubhouse, family and community that I have, I meet artists every single day." And if I could show you my DMs because of
Yeah,
Clubhouse,
I bet.
I get so many, and I can't help everybody, but I've been fortunate to have a relationship with Doc, and I've met Doc with the Clubhouse, and then now we have the songs that we're creating. So so that's just one way that I meet artists, either through online or in person.
So I'm in Clubhouse, so I know what it is. But will you tell people who may not have ever heard that before, and they think you're talking about a place or or a treehouse? So
Yes, no, definitely. If you have not heard of Clubhouse, you have been missing out. And I'm one of the biggest Clubhouse advocates because my platform has grown and my network has grown to 20 times over. Like I literally have, for example, my club has 30,000 members. That's just
wow.
in my club, So can you just imagine 30,000 people, how many people that I've connected and networked and. So
Yeah.
Clubhouse, I'm sorry. So let me get back to the question. I'm sorry. Clubhouse is a social media app that you can, of course, download for Android or iPhone, where you are able to go into rooms, and it's an audio app. So you can go into a room, say we're in a room right now. So consider this Zoom room a room. We can share ideas, we can talk, we can introduce ourselves, we can network. So I have been able to meet actors, comedians, directors, all type of people I've been able to meet through this social media app.
Cool.
So if you are interested in any of those fields, but that's not the only field they have. They have
No,
fashion,
absolutely. I
I
obviously
mean,
follow the
politics.
political ones, right? So
Yep,
yeah.
yep. I was gonna say politic room. So you can learn and converse with people from across the world. This is not just United States. I have friends in different countries now that I've did
Cool.
collaborations with. I did a collaboration with an artist in Africa. I would have never, I mean, I'm sure through Instagram I probably could have, but social media and being able to verbally speak to people through an app on Clubhouse has expanded my network and my name through all over. So it's a great app.
Amazing.
It
When
is
it first started, you had to get an invitation to belong
Yes.
to Clubhouse. I don't know if it's still that same way.
No, anybody
I
can
don't
do it
even know
now.
how I could have gotten invited. I'm not nearly cool enough, but I don't know. I've been doing it for a
No,
couple of
Denise, you're
years,
cool,
so.
Denise.
I can vouch for her coolness. Uh, but
All right, guys, back to the show.
now, Rothstein, now you work with the independent artists now. So help us understand some of the challenges of the
Yeah.
independent artist and what makes the independent artist different from an artist who perhaps has signed to a label.
Man, where do you want me to start? It's a long
Right.
list. So it's a long list of issues with the independent artists. But the first thing I will always say is people take advantage of independent artists. That's the number one
Yeah.
thing. Financially, there's all type of people that have celebrities have reached out to people saying, "Hey, give me $500. I'll post you on my story for 24 hours. You paying $500 to a post that may not everybody see on a story for
Right.
$500. Like that's a bill. That's someone's card note. That's so it's not cheap to get in the music industry. So a lot of people know that they have to kind of pay to get into it, but you just have to be literally smart with your investments because you're not making money off your music until you put it out there. So you're investing in yourself. You're front loading your money up front so that you can get your money recuperated once you put your music out. So now that people do that, they just spend all type of money and put money into things that they don't need to put money into that they could, put into their copyright. Spend that money on copywriting your music. Put that money into a photo shoot. You know what I mean? You could put that 500 towards a graphic artist to make sure your artwork is good enough to compete with the professionals who have their stuff out there. So I'll say the number one thing is just scamming and taking advantage of artists, because I've seen artists get fake record contracts and they say, well, give us $400 and then we'll get you a meeting with such and such. And it's a scam. And so I hate to see independent artists taken advantage of. So that's why I'm an advocate for that. So that's just one issue. Another issue is not knowing the business and releasing music without properly copywriting it, without encoding your music. So you have to know that this is a business like any other business. There's checks and balances. There's serial numbers for reasons, because every time your song is played, it has a serial number that's attached to it. So, I'm calling it a serial number. I don't want to get too technical, but there's a number that's attached to it that every time that record spins, they have to, report that, hey, we spent this record. But then if you don't have your business together, they don't even know who to pay when it comes to paying the money for streaming that record. So the business of music is that's what we need to call it. Instead of music business, it's the business of music, because the music comes second. The music is second. The first part is understanding registering your name, understanding how to get paid. Because most people are in this to, of course, make money, and you got to have money to be able to, fund your dreams and your career. So I just try to. So those are just two quick things.
Do you do all of that for people? Are you like an agent? Do you help people? Or do you connect them with the right people?
I do. I do. Doc is
Yeah.
actually one of my students, such as, with that. We meet weekly, and Doc, I mean, I took him through the steps of making sure he
Mhm.
does this, because as a producer, if the artist doesn't do their part, we don't get paid. So
Right.
I'm on the artist to make sure that I can get paid the
Yeah.
same,
Right.
and at the same time you get paid. So it's a win. We're creating a partnership whenever we create a song or a track together. It's a partnership, because you don't really buy my beat. You just really buy the rights to use my beat. And I'm giving you the rights to put your lyrics on my beat. So you never really purchase the beat, because I created it. It's like you never can have my baby. I created my baby. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I can
Right.
let you, I can lend you out. We can work together, and now, we have a joint project.
So Rothstein, I could ask you questions all day long because, as Doc knows, I really love music as well, and I know a little enough to just be dangerous. Do you the old concept was you got in a studio, right, and you did everything in person, and you were behind the glass, and you were, now, you alluded to it in the beginning of the show. The world has changed. I mean, do you do it all like this, or are you still doing some of it in person?
I'm mostly doing it like this through the internet, sending files, Dropbox, Pro Tools files back and forth. But
Right.
through the music summit that I'm a part of, called the Cookout, where it's an independent music summit. We have artists come to. We go to different cities.
Yeah.
Every 2 months, we go to different cities. Go to professional studios, because some artists, independent artists, never been in a professional studio. They may win
Exactly.
it their friend's home closet or something, or some hole in the wall. But we take them to studios that have worked with major artists, so they can see how it is to be on a nice microphone, be in a controlled environment, with the nice speakers. And this is part of being a musician, and being in the studio. That's what comes with
Right.
being a musician. So yes, so I work face to face with them as well, and I also have a studio I just opened up in Virginia Beach, called Kovac Studios. So you can come to my studio and work with me as well.
Talk a little more about Color Studios, because
Yeah.
that's it's exciting. I certainly have had an opportunity to visit the early stages, but talk about that so that our viewers can know about. They might want to come down there
Exactly.
and patronize.
Hello. Well, definitely come on down. It is Kovac Studios is open in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I can definitely You can look us up on Instagram, Facebook. But we just opened up. It is a studio. We offer podcasting as well. So we have a podcast room. We have a photo area where you can take photo shoots and different things as well. And then we have a recording booth, as well as our recording setup engineering room. So we're a multifaceted studio. I wanted to be that because I wanted to take the artist from A to Z, where we can
Yeah.
get your album cover shot there, as well as get you some graphics done, as well as get you a podcast interview. So you can have content for that, talking about your project. And then you can go ahead and go into the studio and record, and then we can go ahead and get your projects mixed and mastered, and now you're ready to release your music. And we help
Wow.
you with registering your music and making sure you're doing that properly. And that's something that I personally make sure I do with anybody who I work with.
So
That
you're
is unbelievable. Wow. Wow.
about a
I-
world-class full-service studio.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's on. If you're gonna do it, you got to do it right. If you're gonna do it,
Well,
you got to
right.
do it right. Hello.
So do
That
you work with all genres of music, or do you really stick with one area? I mean, obviously Doc is doing one thing, and you seem to be doing something else. Like what do you what kind of artists do you work with?
Honestly, I don't try to limit myself. Like
Good.
I try to challenge myself. If I can. Like me and Doc actually are creating some kind of new genre. Like it's a fusion genre. So that is something that I can't wait to release and talk about more once we
Yeah.
get closer to that. But I specialize in hip hop, R&B, gospel. Those are what I specialize in. But I've film scored. I have a couple film scores I've done, so that's a different type of producing. As well as live show. I've engineered some live shows, so there's a different kind of producing when you're doing live shows. I do a little bit of everything, but I try to be a creative. But I would like to challenge myself to do a little bit like a country. Like I love some country music too. So I haven't done any country, but we'll see what the future holds.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, we only have a minute or two left. You talked about it, but I would like you to say it again. How can people find you? And obviously you're coming back, right? We're going to do a whole show on what you and Doc are doing together. So we're going to do a lot more of what Doc is doing outside of sociology this season. So because he hasn't been playing out for so long, right? People miss him. They're so happy he's getting back out there. So will you just one more time how people can find you, Rothstein?
Yes, ma'am. You can find me. You can Google Rothstein Beatz. All my information.
Are you the only one? Are you the only Rothstein?
I'm the only
Beatz?
one. I'm the only. My SEO is good. So as soon as you Google Rothstein Beatz, my Google's verified. I take all that serious. Instagram Rothstein Beatz, Facebook Rothstein Beatz, Twitter Rothstein Beatz. That's another important thing. Making sure your handles match. Making sure that once they look up Rothstein Beatz, there's not 20 Rothstein Beatz. There's only one Rothstein Beatz, and or Casino Gang Records, which is my record label. I just released. I gotta do this quick plug. I'm sorry. My artist Megan B just released. Just released her debut album called Mood. It just came out today. So Megan B Mood, look it up on all streaming platforms. It's my first release off of my album, my record label, Casino Gang Records. So I'm ecstatic right now. And thank you.
We gotta have her on the show. You gotta come back. You gotta bring your artists. People they want to know, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It makes me feel like I'm on the ground floor or something.
Yes, you are. You are. I'm telling you, hello. I mean, this is. I'm telling you, I don't want to talk about it, but the music. I mean, we just had a little listening party on Clubhouse. The response was so amazing. So I'm just thankful. And Megan B Mood out right now. Go get it. Megan B Mood out right now.
Fantastic. All right. Obviously he's coming back, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way that we're not sticking with this guy because he's a superstar, and maybe someday he'll remember us.
No.
And obviously he's doing a lot of very big things with Doc, and we've got to continue to talk about it. People have been watching Doc on this show we're going into our third year. This is our third season of the show, and I think this is really people want to hear these pieces of it as well, because it really is about lifting up communities. It is about giving people opportunities. It is about developing communities. And it's all the things that we have talked about on this show for 3 years, of giving people opportunities to express themselves and to get ahead in whatever way they see fit. And Rothstein, you're doing it for people. You really are. It's amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show. Doc, another home run. Another home run. I just press record. That's all I do around here these days. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. If folks want to get more information about Rothstein, I think how do they find you on Clubhouse? So all of us who are cool enough to be on Clubhouse.
Yes, go to Music Networking No Egos, because we have no egos. So Music Networking No Egos is my club, or search for Rothstein Beatz and I'll pop up there. Hello. And
you'll pop up. Terrific.
Yes,
okay, I think we know all the ways we can find him now. I think many of you would probably be very interested in being able to do that. We will certainly have Rothstein Beatz back on this show. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back next Tuesday night at 7:00 and every Tuesday night at 7:00 right here for Community Conversations. Thank you all. Good night. Good night now.
Good night.